Hello everybody and welcome to episode 4 of On the Gamely, the most low-budget video game show of all time. So low budget that we no longer have a table. I'm your host, Tyler, writer and founder of gamecepticon.blogspot.ca, the most famous blog ever. And this is my co-host,
Jacob,
who isn't a writer at gamecepticon.blogspot.ca, but I want him to be, but he shows up in these videos like a good sport. So On the Gamely, if you don't know, it's just a game where we talk about video games. Mostly current news, but once in a while we'll get into some older stuff, whatever tickles our fancy that week. So without further ado, I guess let's go on. We're going to start every episode now with a new feature. And this feature is basically what you've been playing.
Minecraft, multiplayer, a jail server, and Mario 3D World.
Mario 3D World is a good choice. I've also been playing that, sometimes with him. I've been playing Killzone Shadowfall, but that'll be a game I play for a while. And I've been playing a couple indie games, Moire and Gala Gala, both solid games I reviewed. Yeah, alright, so let's move on then, I guess. Did you have something you wanted to say?
Yeah.
No? Alright. So our first issue is Kurt Schilling says that Kingdom of Amalur is groundbreaking and worth $1 billion. Start it off.
That's way too high.
You got nothing else to elaborate on?
Well, I mean, it's a good game. And for the little bit I played it was pretty fun, but I don't know if it was that outstanding that it was worth $1 billion.
It's never going to make $1 billion. Half that if you're lucky. But I really do like Kingdom of Amalur. I once said that it was better than Skyrim, and I'm not sure if I really agree with myself now, but with that said, it is a great game with a better combat system than Skyrim, even though it takes an influence from the Elder Scrolls games. With that said, they were done with their money and now they're bankrupt, and I really don't think the series is going to be worth $1 billion. And I don't really think the series is groundbreaking because it takes from so many other RPGs and whatnot and does it well, but it's a great game, but not groundbreaking. Anything else you want to say?
No, it's too darn high.
Too darn high. The developer of, or one of the developers, because I think it was a whole bunch of people, but the developer of the False Scar mod for Skyrim lands a job because of the 2,000, the mod that he put 2,000 hours worth of time into. He landed a job, but it's not with Bethesda. It's with
Bungie.
Bungie took him under his wing, and now I think he's working on Destiny.
Yeah, he stated that it was the one company he never expected to get into.
But now he's into it. So Bungie must be a pretty gamer-friendly company. I never ever hear anybody actually shit-talking Bungie.
Says they're good staff.
There you go. There's a +1 for Bungie. Because
He was the main developer. He wrote like all the story and did all that, but he had like help from people with like animation and music and stuff.
And that's fair.
And voice acting.
Because basically the mod seems really cool. It's just like a whole other game.
Yeah.
Like you really can't go wrong. I've never played it, but like that's cool. So wanted to kind of give a nice heartwarming story because we're going to talk about something a little darker in a bit. But let's move on, shall we?
It's not EA this time.
Well, there's some EA coming, boys and girls. Okay, so Valve announced their Steam reviews, and it is currently in open beta, so anybody with Steam can now review games and stuff. Only as of right now, there is no numerical rating given. You can't give games a numerical rating. What do you think?
It's good. Really, there's not much to say to this, but
No,
when I'm going and looking at a game like that I don't know about, instead of having to go all over the internet and finding just like IGN's reviews or something I can actually find personal reviews at, like, I'm guessing the bottom of the page,
yeah.
which would be nice so I know to buy the game or not.
I think putting reviews on any site is a good idea. I mean, obviously, because I review games, I'm not saying I'm going to sit there and review Steam games, but it is a nice feature. Although I do kind of wish they had a numerical rating because, I mean, anybody really knows that like the meat and potatoes of a review isn't the score; it's the writing itself. But with that said, sometimes it's just nice to see a number. Like if you go to a game and you see 8, you're gonna be like, "Oh shit, let's check this out. Let's read the review." Sometimes ratings are just good to have. They're good to have.
The only problem I can see with this is if Steam follows like every other company where they're just making their like fake accounts to spam, like, oh, this is a good game, and the game.
This game is great.
Yeah,
Best game ever.
but I don't know if I see Steam doing that.
Nah, Valve won't do that. Or will they?
They already know their games suck.
Yeah, they all suck. Next bit of business is San Andreas is coming to mobile devices this month, December 2013. I'm not really that excited.
I kind of.
I own San Andreas for PS2, and even though it's going to get a makeover, and it's going to be prettied up and whatnot, I mean, it's great for mobile devices, but I ain't buying it again.
That would have been so nice like 2 years ago when I first got a iPod Touch, and I wanted like GTA on my phone or an iPod, but not that exciting since I think I also own it, or I own like Liberty City.
It is cool to think about how we've progressed with technology, though, that now this thing here can run a PS2 game that was heralded as like so beautiful and so technically amazing, and now it's like, look at this, it's in my hand. And
10 years ago,
GTA.
It was a god of the system. Now it
Still,
can fit in your pocket.
Still the best GTA, although I haven't actually played GTA 5. But I'm a San Andreas guy. Anything else you gotta say about that?
No.
You made us wait that long just to say no.
I had to think. I'm like, is there anything worthy saying? Now you'll get to kill people in your pocket.
So there's this little known franchise called Star Wars. You may have heard of it. I don't know. It's kind of indie. They EA is EA Canada. Sorry, you may have heard of EA. EA Canada is making a Star Wars open world game, but I don't think there's been any details.
No, just that they got the license from whoever now
But
to.
it's got the internet going crazy.
They're working with what was it called? Red something in Los Angeles, whatever company it is, and they're developing it. At first, I'm like, wait, didn't EA create the MMORPG one?
Yeah.
Wasn't that open world?
Was it? I don't know if did they create it? Yeah, because they own the video game rights. What do you want to see for it, or don't you really have any?
It's gonna be bad because I already know another Battlefront's coming, but I'm just gonna say just basically open world Battlefront.
Just release Battlefront. I have Battlefront pre-order, and I don't think it's supposed to come out for 2 years.
Which is already, according to the review I read, where our article is already in production, which is nice because that means we get to play Battlefront.
Yeah,
How many we've only waited?
E3
We've only waited what?
for a long time.
Too long.
I'm not even a Star Wars guy, and I don't play a lot of Star Wars games. But there's a few Star Wars games I really like, and Battlefront is probably top of the heap.
And don't bring that Renegade or Elite Squadron crap into those because those weren't real Battlefront
They don't matter.
A, they were both too easy, and B, they weren't really that well done.
You heard it here. I was gonna say first, but I'm sure lots of people have said it.
No, I think everyone praised it. I'm hating it.
He's,
I mean, they were Battlefronts. I got to give them praise, but they were pretty dumbed down. Plus, they were like DS and PSP versions.
he's got hate on for those.
Yeah.
So, moving on, I guess. But screw EA. Make a good game. And, the fact that it's an online thing, though, probably.
Now I won't be able to
It
play
probably will be
offline.
online. We'll never be able to play it because EA can't get their shit together.
Probably won't get on servers. They'll probably take out half the things about Star Wars. Probably won't even be Star Wars.
It's gonna be Sailor Moon. Alright, moving on. Shovel Knight is coming in early 2014. And let me start this off by saying that's a great time to release it because, as far as I know, there isn't a whole bunch of big games coming out early 2014. But there usually isn't. The only game that I know right off the top of my head that's coming early 2014 is the new Earth Defense Force, which is already out in Japan as far as I know, but it's coming over here in February, which is a big game to me.
Me too.
And a nice fan base love it and think it's an amazing series, but it's not really a big game in the grand scheme of things. And maybe the South Park RPG, but I can't remember when that got delayed to. Oh, maybe Donkey Kong, actually. Maybe it's not a great time to come out. I don't know. But Shovel Knight looks pretty awesome. What do you think?
Looks like a classic game. I like classic games.
Who needs a sword and a shield when you got a shovel?
Yeah. You shovel your way through.
I like it. It's a nice homage to old games.
Minecraft. Because I beat zombies with shovels too.
Get off that Minecraft.
No,
Get off.
I think it looks cool. I like classic games. Like classic game feels. Like
It looks.
I like them classic feels.
Don't bring them memes in here.
Besides that, it just looks like it'd be fun.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to playing it. I think that they're doing some fun things with the shovel, making you able to bounce off enemies and stuff.
That crazy boss in there.
Yeah, there's a crazy boss in one of the trailers and stuff. I just think it should be a really fun game, just a pure fun game. Now you're gonna have to. I can't remember. Somebody recently has come out and said Nintendo is irrelevant in like console, hardware, whatever.
Yeah, basically just irrelevant to the market.
Who was it?
It was the
The ex-THQ president.
Yeah.
And where's he now?
No, but we gotta stress that the ex-THQ president.
Giving advice on how Nintendo, a company that's 100 years old at least, should survive. And what I find funny about it, and I'll get into the positives here. What I find funny about it is that, I know the GameCube. I don't know if the GameCube sold well or not, but I know the GameCube wasn't a great system. It had some great games. And I had one, but I didn't play a lot of games on it. Now maybe that was because I wasn't gaming as much then. But I find it funny that he says that they just have no business in the console hardware anymore, and that they should just send Mario over to other systems. They literally just had the Wii, which sold 20 million more than 360 and PS3, and he's telling us that they're not relevant. I know that the Wii U isn't selling, and that sucks, and that's partially their fault. Their marketing is not great, and blah blah blah, and they haven't come up with as many games as they want. But part of it is gamers' fault. The gamers' fault, because Nintendo offers something, a new experience, that you're not getting anywhere else. So I don't want them to leave consoles, because I'm always going to get a Nintendo console. It doesn't matter. I'm always going to get it. And yeah, I'm a little disappointed with the games, and we've talked about this before, but No, they're not going to send Mario and shit over to your other system.
Unless you want Mario to be a first-person shooter.
They're not going to do it. They know what they have here. We're like 80 years into Mario, and they literally just released a new Mario that is one of the best games of the year. But anyway,
One of the best
sorry.
Marios of all time.
Yeah, it's actually one of my favorite Marios of all time. But was there anything you wanted to say? I've kind of...
Straight up, he doesn't know what he's saying.
No, but they're all saying it now. Nintendo shouldn't do this. Nintendo shouldn't be in this. Whatever.
Didn't Nintendo start out as a card?
Oh, they've made their money.
Look, they started from the bottom.
And now they're here.
But look, THQ has fallen. Maybe how dare he give advice?
To be fair to the dude, though, he did praise Miyamoto as like a treasure or something, and did praise what he has given to gaming. And I don't even I know I just hated on the dude a little bit, but I understand what he's saying. And I know I get it, and I don't think he was doing it to be like a hater or whatever. But we just need Nintendo will do better as the games go on. Well, they can only do so much. If nobody's buying the great games, it's not really Nintendo's fault, because the Wonderful 101 is awesome, but it didn't sell that well. What can you do besides release those great games? I guess Nintendo's a little bit more niche now, which is funny to say, but there's always a place for Nintendo in my heart.
Mine too.
Because I grew up with that.
Right here.
And it's not just nostalgia talk, and I do legitimately like their games and their systems. But, whatever. And now on to a dark spot. A school shooting game, apparently called School Shooter, or at least according to the article, I guess. A school shooting game was discovered at the Sandy Hook killer's home.
But it was not connected.
Proceed.
It was at first thought to be connected to the Half-Life 2 mod. That was like the nationwide school shooting game thing, but it was found that it had nothing to do with it. And I read somewhere that the game may have had connections to something like what other school shooters had been playing. But a lot of the rulings stated that really the games weren't the major reason of why it happened, but the guy himself was obsessed with firearms and shooting, so that probably the games got him into the liking of guns, but the games weren't really the reason of why he...
Yeah, they're not... So far, it doesn't seem to be a witch hunt for games. The article said that the report didn't really say, Nintendo... Or not Nintendo. Video games are to blame. But I'm gonna throw down what I perceive to be a little bit of hard-hitting truth that gamers don't like to hear. And I've been a gamer for 25 years or something like that, because I'm cool. Video games are... If there's a guy that goes out and shoots a bunch of people and he plays violent video games or whatever, video games are, I'm gonna say, partially to blame, but I'm gonna explain myself. Video games are partially to blame for the same reason that a book is partially to blame, a movie is partially to blame, whatever is partially to blame. It's not the main reason for shooting. You don't magically play a video game and think, I'm going to be violent. You have those tendencies in your head because you have something wrong with you that you can't distinguish them, and the video games influence you. I think you may have kind of said that already, but they influence you a little, but they're not too, I don't know if I'm making myself clear here. Anything can kind of put you over the edge. Anything. It can be Harry Potter can put you over the edge. Pokemon can put you over the edge.
It was the same thing for someone who got shot at during the Colorado
Yeah.
Batman showing.
Anything can put you over the edge. But you have to have that in your head already. That there's something a little screwy with you. And yeah, what I'm trying to say is that games may push you a little bit. But you can't scapegoat and say video games are to blame. Or books aren't to blame. Like, there's no one thing that's to blame, but everything's connected. You know?
Yeah.
You go to violent video games because you have some fascination with violence in some way, and most people can handle it. I like violent video games. I'm not gonna go shoot anybody, but there are people that will. Obviously, what I find funny with the article though is the fact that they found Metal Gear Solid, GTA. Both of those games make sense, especially GTA. And Dance Dance Revolution. That's what trips me out. That's what kind of, not the Sandy killer, whatever, is not funny, but the fact that DDR was there is kind of amusing.
I think the article included at the end that they did find that he was like psychologically damaged.
Yeah,
and that was.
Go ahead.
That was a lot like, I was like, a while ago reading like the Columbine stuff. It was kind of the same. Like the video games really had nothing to do with it, but I think there were some people stating that it was kind of like the video games are an escape, and the video games kind of like I don't really know how to explain it, but like seeing the character do that, they felt like they could kind of do the same.
Yeah.
To add like stop problems. I mean, as of right now, they said he has no motive, but it was kind of like that.
And see, and that makes sense. And that's some gamers who get really defensive don't want to acknowledge that yes, it can. At the same time, a video game might prevent you from shooting somebody because maybe you go online, you play Call of Duty. Although if you're playing Call of Duty, you're listening to morons. But maybe you go on and you play Call of Duty, and shooting maybe keeps you from actually shooting people.
It's
it can
like
go both ways.
An escape for anger or anything.
Yeah, so it can help, but it can also hurt. It's one of those things, but anything can hurt you.
It's like a bittersweet type of thing.
Yeah, I'm not saying video games are to blame. I'm saying that everything ties in.
So the people who hate Dungeons and Dragons for being evil.
Well, they're used to blame Dungeons and Dragons
because it was
back in the day. Everything's been blamed. Books, I always say books because not enough people read, but books were to blame. There was trials and stuff for obscenity and like naked lunch and whatnot. But I'm kind of getting off topic. Like everything has been blamed. And video games are a relatively new art form, so they're going to be a target more than anything else until something comes along. Just the way it is. You have anything else you want to throw down on concerning that? No?
Nope.
Alright. Xbox One outsells the PS4 on Black Friday at Wally World.
I have a hypothesis. Now you gotta listen to this. I feel like more, because when you watch the GIFs, it's all the people running for the PS4. So here's my thought. When they all ran for them, half of them stole them, and, well, some people got shot by the cops, but the ones that successfully stole them, they stole them, and then the other ones were broken. So I think they sold more because everyone was going for the PS4s, and they ended up broken and stolen. That's what I thought.
I'd heard that there also may have just been a shortage of PS4s.
When,
or the Xbox One just sold better. I'm not sitting here, and I'm not giving a reason why, but I like your hypothesis.
Actually, I was in the store, and they were talking about how, like, in our little town, they were talking about how there was no PS4s in stock. And the problem is, at the time, they were also trying to launch the European ones, so a lot of the production was going into the European ones than here. So, and they didn't really count in how many were being sold, so not enough factories were producing at the time, so they're just on a shortage. That was probably why, like you said, but... I like to believe a lot of people just broke them.
So let us know what you think in the comments below. Or you could just sit here and insult our appearance, because that's going to happen too.
You should watch those GIFs of people just knocking them down and fighting each other. And I recommend some zombie music or some epic like Halo music as you see that.
So what do you think? Let us know. Were they stolen, like he said? Was there a shortage, or is Xbox One just better? So let us know.
And while he's sitting there, I'll quickly throw down. The Yogscast are doing their annual December live stream where they raise money for charities for getting cows for countries and disaster relief, etc., etc. But they with the indie Humble Bundle group have launched their own Humble Bundle with a series of games. I can remember one of the specific things where I think you get an exclusive. I don't know if it's an item or you actually get the copy of Chivalry, if you know what that game is.
Yeah, I know what that is.
You get like exclusive DLC that was made just for them in like games, and yeah, you get a bunch of cool things for really cheap.
Yeah, and if you hear that, yeah, we're in a basement. I gave you the opportunity to throw that down at the beginning, but that's cool. You got it out there. Yogscast Humble Bumble. Yeah,
Go for it. It helps people and gets you games.
And before I go on, I'd just like to say it was a hectic week, so maybe we missed some good news. This episode was a little more rushed than others because we were really busy. But so if we missed any good news, let us know. But I guess we'll end it with our last topic. Apparently, Sony registered the domain for a Last of Us movie. And isn't the game already a movie? No, I'm just kidding. Last of Us. I'm gonna do my favorite games of the year at the end of the year, but I will say that The Last of Us is also one of the best games of the year. I have yet to decide which is my favorite game of the year, but I'm not even like a fanatic of the developers. Like, I never played Uncharted and didn't really even care to, but The Last of Us is so worthy of the hype that it's gotten. If you want like a story-driven game, but that's not to say it doesn't have some good gameplay, because it does. It is. I mean, yeah, a lot of it is you walking around trying to pick up supplies and whatnot. But I was never ever bored by the gameplay. Like I was always into it, and I was always super into the story. And the music is fantastic, and it's just a beautiful game. But I don't know if I need a movie. But are they gonna cast Ellen Page? Because what's her face from the game? Well, it looks like Ellen Page, and there's that whole controversy. But no, on a serious matter, I might go see the movie if it comes out. But whatever. What do you think?
The Ratchet and Clank movie.
Yeah, wasn't that going to be animated?
Yep.
That's a good move. So, anything else about The Last of Us?
No.
So, are you excited for a Last of Us movie? Let us know.
Yeah.
I'm trying to say let us know more. I wasn't talking to you.
Oh.
I'm trying to say let us know more because I feel like it adds.
Let us know.
Oh, let us know. And I guess that's all we got for this week. I hope you weren't too bored by us.
No, not really.
I hope you tell all your friends and make us YouTube celebrities.
We got a new background.
We got a nice white wall.
We need to get like green screen and they just have the video games we talk about behind us.
Oh, that is way too advanced for all the gameplay.
But yeah, let's just take pictures behind it.
It's a cool idea. Yeah, so play those video games, and I guess we will see you probably next week, unless we all die, which could happen.
Let's be honest, it won't.
No, it won't.
The last 40 dudes who thought that would happen in the past few years were wrong.
The world has already ended in 2012. We are living in the Matrix right now.
Makes sense. Except their internet's slow. You think if we live in the Matrix, it'd be fast.
All right. That is a topic for another time when the camera isn't on. So, have a good week.
Sayonara.